Hi, greetings. Okay, so something happened this morning, and I said to myself the same thing I've been saying to myself many times over the past couple of months, and so I've decided to do something about it. Um, I remember telling my daughter in the car recently, I should do a communication 101 class because things that I see as simple and straightforward are not necessarily. And I realize that that is one of my specialties, that is one of my gifts. And often when I used to work with individuals who were trying to save their marriages, we spent a lot of our time on communication. So it is a massive piece of being a human, working with other people, living with other people, being in relationships with other people requires good understanding of communication, both the communication that you're receiving and the communication that you're broadcasting. And so I've decided to do something about it and actually host a class, not tomorrow, but the following Wednesday, the 30th of July. And if you'd like an invitation to join me, just drop communicate in the comments, and I'm happy to share. Um, let's come to why this is important. There are so many different ways that we disappoint ourselves and each other daily. It could be something like a project that, you know, I commit and say, I'm going to do X task by Y date, and then Y date comes around and I haven't even begun X task. Or I've started S task, but I got stuck somewhere and never asked for help. Um, then there could be a situation where I was supposed to meet someone at Z time and I missed that time and maybe didn't even get to the meeting spot until Z plus 30 minutes or Z plus 40 minutes, and the other person is gone and very upset that I didn't honor our agreement. Another example is uh, my husband and I decide to go out for dinner, date night. We're having a great time. I give him a look. He says something. I give him a look. He then, his whole mood changes, and um, the evening is kind of ruined from that point on. It's just not fun anymore. We kind of go home in silence, not saying too much, feeling misunderstood, feeling very uncomfortable. Another example is I've come to an agreement with my daughter that she's going to clean her room by 5 p.m. And I come in at 5:30 p.m. and the room is still looks like a tornado hit it. And I'm scratching my head because I thought it was very clear what was agreed upon. These are all really very real examples. I've lived each one of them, and I'm sharing it from a place that I know I'm not the only one who's lived this. And the question is, what do we do, or how do we handle this? Is there anything we can do about it? Is there anything that we can do other than maybe take some deep breaths and manage our stress? Is there anything we can do to prevent these kinds of interactions from becoming commonplace? Is there anything that we can do to feel better about these interactions when they happen? Genuinely, not like, oh, it's okay, and inside you're seething, right? Um, And so this is something, and everyone has a different level. Like for some people, 2 minutes late tardiness or someone not meeting an agreement by 2 minutes is enough to get them very upset. For some people, it's 20 minutes. But pretty much most of us have a threshold of a time window where we go from, oh, no problem, to what in the world? Um, or it could be that many of us may have a window of, well, if you couldn't do the project, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you let me know when you were stuck? Why didn't you communicate something different? Why didn't you set a different time if you knew you were gonna, it was possible you could oversleep? Whatever the thing is. So I used to ask that question very much of myself as much as of other people. Why didn't I tell them what my challenge was? Why didn't I communicate this? Why didn't they communicate that? Now I don't ask that question why as much because I usually do know why. Now it's more, what is mine to do in this situation? Is it nothing? Is it speaking up and saying something? Is it asking forgiveness? Is it renegotiating a deadline? Like what is mine to do? And all of those options that I gave are possible options. Sometimes there's other options that need to be considered, but you always do have options. And so I want to restore to you your connection to just how precious you are, independent of whether you're able to communicate effectively with someone else or not. You are precious. Your feelings matter. Your reactions, your state of being, state of mind, it matters. It's important. It's valid. And it doesn't need anyone outside to validate it. But in case you were hoping for that, let me provide that right now. I start with this because ultimately, at the end of the day, all communication issues are about that. Do I matter? Am I valued? Are my feelings and my needs and my current situation, are they taken into consideration? Are they seen as part of the equation or are they dismissed? So, a lot of times in the world that we've lived in, because our current disease is coloniality, but before colonialism there were other problems in the world. It didn't start with colonialism. It's just that that's what we're currently experiencing the blowback from. And when we decolonize our relationships, whether it's with time, with ourselves, with other people, with food, with entertainment, whatever it is that we're decolonizing, one of the first things to remember is our validity in our existence. We don't have to prove anything. We are here for good reason. Because we are here, because we exist, we matter, our needs matter. The end. That's one of the first things that we need to take back when we're decolonizing our mindset on anything. And another thing to take back is to understand that we're in a world where most people still don't realize that. And so there's a level of grace that those of us with this extra understanding, um, can dole out to others. And there's also a level of grace that we can give ourselves for past indiscretions, if you want to call it that. Maybe not being as understanding of others and their situation as we are now, whatever it might be. So there's grace as we first recognize that our feelings matter, who we are matters, our existence matters. Because we exist, it's important. And secondly, that grace may be needed. So now, when we think about this and we bring into context those challenging situations I mentioned at the outset, what can we do about them? What can we do? After recognizing that our needs matter and giving ourselves and others grace, we can start to see what it is we actually need or want out of that interaction. So we can go back to the situation with the missed deadline for the project. What is it that we needed and wanted? Sometimes it might be that we needed more time to complete the project. Sometimes it may be that we needed better communication throughout the process with the other parties involved. Sometimes it might be that we needed the project to die because we really didn't want to do the project, but we didn't realize that early enough. And so we just kind of played along, right? So the answer will be different for each time. But that's the first thing is what did I actually want or need from the situation? The second question is once you understand what you want or need, where is the other party or parties in this current situation? Where is their capacity? And often you don't know that until you ask them. Sometimes you know that when you observe them, right? Like as a parent, we kind of know the capacity of our kids to do something at any given time because we've been watching them since they were little. But often, unless we have that kind of relationship, we don't know what someone's capacity is. So we're going to need to, at some level, ask. And it might sound as silly as just saying, this is probably going to sound really silly, but I can't read your mind. Um, what is it that you need? Where are you? What is going on for you in the situation? Okay. And then the third thing is then trying to see where we can bridge the gap between our needs and their needs. Sometimes, not always, sometimes there is no bridging of the gap and it really is a need for a separating of ways. But honestly, that's not that often. More times than not, the person that you are in interaction with wants to be in connection with you, wants to successfully complete the project with you, or whatever it might be, wants to clean their room, wants to have a great date night. And so it's not a matter of a complete values misalignment, but just rather of getting a better understanding. We missed something, they missed something, and now it's kind of going back and finding what we needed to find to build that bridge. And forgive me, my background is in structural engineering, so I'm always using engineering analogies. That's just how my brain works. Um, but yeah, so once we can build the bridge between us and the other person, then the relationship can always succeed, feel good, even when we disagree with each other or we have differences of opinion or whatever it may be. And one of the greatest tools, it's not the only tool, but one of the greatest tools that we have at our disposal is communication. And because communication can cover a lot of things, because there's a lot that's communicated verbally, there's even more that's communicated non verbally, and there's even um, things that are communicated energetically, which is not necessarily a physical or visual cue, but more things that are felt with different aspects of our beings. So when we understand that there's a lot to communication, but it it is complex, but it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be quite simple. And one of my goals is always to make it simple. So the class will be a little bit of content and a lot of Q&A because the best way to get your specific concerns addressed is to ask the question. This is what happened between me and my husband. This is what happened with me and my kid. This is what happened with me and my collaborative partner. This is what happened between me and my boss. This is what happened between me and my neighbor. And then we get a chance in those very specific terms to start to apply the principles of effective collaborative communication. So let me know if this what I shared made sense. Drop an emoji just to help visibility for this. That would be deeply appreciated, even if you don't have anything to say. But I would love to read your thoughts on what I just shared today to see if this helps. This is something that you can do when communication doesn't go the way that you want it to, is to understand what stories you're telling yourself and also learn from the other person what stories they're telling themselves, and then try to at least come together in a larger story that incorporates both of your perspectives. And I'm actually happy if you want me to just drop story. I'm happy to share with you the story that I use tomorrow and that I use with everyone that I work with to help them to be able to have a little bit more ease in their communication with others. Again, also, I want to speak briefly about the difference between your ease in communication and the ease that will be felt between you and the other person in the relationship. A lot of relationships will not be 100% ease. They'll maybe be 50% ease. That doesn't mean that it's a relationship you need to walk away from. It just means that it's a relationship that's helping you to grow and expand. And it should also be helping the other person to grow and to expand. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Um, and I can speak a little bit more to that. Just let me know in the chat, in the comments, what you would like me to share a little bit more on. Otherwise, I look forward to reading your